And council will reconvene at 5:08 PM. And we are at item 6.5 in our agenda this evening, Parks Bylaw number 1184, second reading. Acting CO McLaughlin.
Thank you. So this Parks Bylaw number 1184 was brought for you in front of you for first reading. And since then, we got feedback on it, and council also provided feedback, and we decided that to go another way, and that other way was the nuisance bylaw that you just passed. So in order to kill this bylaw, what we need to do is we need to call for second reading and have council defeat it. So that's what we're expecting to happen tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Councilor Stashik.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have a question, and I'm prepared to make the motion, but understanding that, I just was wondering, why is the recommended action to give second reading?
Mr. McLaughlin.
Through the chair to all of council. Yeah, we could have worded that better. We have to go to second reading, but we should have phrased it to that you'll have to call for second reading. We're expecting that it will not pass.
Understood. If I could speak to that, I think maybe that's where some of the confusion from the public members who emailed council and even council themselves, I think maybe that's where that came from, but I understand now, and I'm prepared to make the motion that council give second reading to the Parks Bylaw number 1184 as presented.
Thank you, Councilor Ostashik. Would you like to speak to it?
Sure, quickly. It's no longer needed, and I'm expecting it'll be defeated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Stashik. Council, the motion on the floor is that council give second reading to the Parks Bylaw number 1184 as presented. Any further discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councilors, please vote now. And that motion is defeated unanimously. And for those watching at home, the situation with the Parks Bylaw, we brought this to council back in January, passed first reading, administration went out, did the research, talked to the community, and we found out that the issues that administration was trying to deal with in the Parks Bylaw were better managed through the just passed nuisance bylaw. And the draft of the Parks Bylaw number 1184 is obviously no longer required. Council, is there anything further for item 6.5 on the agenda this evening? Seeing nothing, we'll move to item 6.6, Lobb and Partners Report Implementation. Acting CO McLaughlin.
Thank you, council. So at the special council meeting on April 30th, Lobb and Partners presented their report on the PAR 999 development at the golf course and its impact on golf. And we also discussed this report at the last committee meeting. What we're recommending is that council direct administration to utilize the Lobb and Partners report as a guide to mitigate the hazards in the interface areas between the proposed development and the golf course in the process of reviewing the PAR 999 development permit applications. The first phase of the PAR 999 development will likely be little impact in the areas that were raised through the report. So we feel that we can still move ahead with phase one, and with the further phases, we'll use this report to make sure that the safety zones that were highlighted in the report are properly addressed through the design or tweaks in the development as we move ahead. At committee, council made a second consensus, and we've added that to the report to ensure that council passes a motion in that regard as well. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Councillor Taylor.
I'd like to go with the first motion that council direct administration to utilize the Lobb and Partners report as a guide to mitigate the hazards in the interface area between the proposed development and the golf course in the process of reviewing the PAR 99 development permit applications. And I can only repeat what I said before, but to do that. One of the things I think this report does is that show safety margin zones more completely and clearly than any other report. And we've got to allow our administration and the proponent to move forward and consider this information in the development planning process. And it's also worth noting that, in my opinion, the town's ability to pay for even a portion of the larger investment opportunities in the LOB report is extremely restricted in the near future. I mean, 10 years for that, due to our recent financial obligations related to water and sewer work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Council, the motion on the floor is that council direct administration to utilize the Lobbin Partners report as a guide to mitigate the hazards in the interface area between the proposed development and the golf course in the process of reviewing the PAR 999 development permit applications. Is there any further discussion from council? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. And that motion is carried unanimously. Councillor Magoon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to take the second recommended action that council direct administration to return a report to committee of the whole exploring strategic options and high-level budgetary impacts related to, and then Miss Davy Campbell, options 5 and 6 as outlined in the Lobbin Partners report. So just a clarification, I've inserted the word options in between the word 2 and then the numbers 5 and 6. And then if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think part of the Lobbin Partners report sort of indicates that these are two potential options over the long term that can preserve the integrity and really try to deliver on the aspect of developing and enhancing the golf course, which was part of the initial advancement of looking at investing in this area and potentially looking at development, expanding into this area. And I think this is a key part of it. If we don't look at options 5 and 6, then we are, I am highly concerned that there's an impact to the resource that is our municipal golf course. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Magoon. Council, the motion on the floor is that council direct administration to return a report to a committee of the whole meeting exploring strategic options and high-level budgetary impacts related to options 5 and 6 as outlined in the Lobbin Partners report. Councillor Taylor.
What's the cost of this? When we say high-level budgetary impacts, we're talking what is this report going to cost? Is there going to be a cost, or are we going to talk about
Mr. McLaughlin?
these going to just be high-level estimates that don't have a cost associated with them?
Through the chair to Councillor Taylor, I'm not anticipating a large cost on this. This will be mostly internal administrative work. There may be a few follow-up phone calls to Lobbin Partners to get some estimates, but I believe some of that work was already in the report, so we might just need a few more details from them. Most of the work will be administrative.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Councillor Chambers.
Through the chair, I will be speaking in favor of this motion. I think that we spent the money on the report. I think it's prudent to move ahead with some of this exploratory work while it's still fresh in everybody's minds. That was the intention, was to kind of take a holistic look at what the options were altogether. And I think it's a good time to continue to move ahead with some of this from that exploratory level to inform us in the future. So I'm in favor of this as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Chambers. Council, the motion on the floor is that council direct administration return a report to a committee of the whole meeting exploring strategic options and high-level budgetary impacts related to options 5 and 6 as outlined in the Lobbin Partners report. Is there any further discussion? Seeing nothing, we'll call the question. Councillors, please vote now. And that motion is carried unanimously. Council, is there anything further for item 6.6 on the agenda this evening? Seeing nothing, we'll move to section 7 of the agenda, information items. And item 7.1 is a proclamation. Seniors Week 2024 proclamation. In 2024, Seniors Week is June 3rd to 9. This annual event, which has been held since 1986, celebrates the contributions seniors make to enhancing the quality of life in Alberta. Each year, communities, organizations, and the Alberta government co-host this week of events, recognition, and festivities. We in the town of Hinton, by officially declaring June 3rd to 9th, 2024 as Seniors Week, will have appreciated and supported Alberta's seniors in an unbroken line since 2014. Whereas the town of Hinton recognizes that seniors have made and continue to make uncounted contributions to strengthen daily life in our province, our town, and our homes, and whereas seniors are a vital part of our families, giving generously of their wisdom, experience, support, and love, and whereas more seniors today are independent and active than at any other time, challenging the stereotypes of aging and leading the way for future seniors, and whereas this positive attitude towards aging is creating new opportunities, new ways of life, and a brighter future for all seniors, and whereas we wish to honor this skilled, knowledgeable, experienced, and inspiring sector of our population with a dedicated week of celebration, now therefore be it resolved that on behalf of the Council of the Town of Hinton, I, Mayor Nicholas Nissen, do hereby proclaim the week of June 3rd to the 9th, 2024 to be Seniors Week in Hinton. I call upon everyone in our community and area to join in the celebration by joining Hinton FCSS on Monday, June 3rd at the Hinton Center, 965 Schweitzer Drive for the annual Lifetime Achievement Awards and luncheon at 12 p.m. For council, it's a real shame that that conflicts directly with FCM. Takes us to item 8 of our, or section 8 of our agenda, correspondence. Council, is there any discussion on any of the correspondence items from today, or would council like to accept for information? Councillor Haas.
I'd like to move that we accept the correspondence for information.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. Council, the motion on the floor is that council accept the correspondence package for information. Is there any discussion? Secretary going? Yeah, it's coming. Okay. Swing and a miss on that one. While we're waiting on this to come up for our computers, I'll just let council know that on one of these correspondence items, the rehabilitation project for the Beaver Boardwalk, I was contacted by the media over the weekend and did an interview with CBC about it. Everyone's very excited about our Beaver Boardwalk. Okay, council, the motion on the floor is that council accept the correspondence for information. Councilors, please vote now. And that motion is carried unanimously. That brings us to section 9 of the agenda this evening, notices of motion, and 9.1, notice of motion, Councillor Ryan Magoon. Councillor Magoon, would you please read your notice of motion into the record?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also, just as a point of information, if I could, the correct spelling of my last name is the second one, Maguhn. The 9.1 line has it incorrectly spelled, just for the record.
Thank you, Councillor Magoon.
The notice of motion is to direct administration and the mayor to prepare a declaration of a state of emergency under the Emergency Management Act, citing a healthcare crisis due to the extreme shortage of doctors and medical health professionals in the town of Hinton. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Magoon. That will bring us to section 10 of our agenda this evening, reporting and council reports. We'll start on the right side of the table this evening. Councillor Taylor, any reporting? Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Race. Can you cue the microphone though, please? Thank you. Go ahead.
On Thursday of this week, I do have a museum meeting that I'm not able to attend, and Councillor Hawes has graciously said he would attend for me. May 23rd, I will be attending the 72-hour preparedness put on by the fire hall, and I believe there's 2 sessions that day. Oh, FCSS. And then also on the 23rd, I'll be attending the poverty simulation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Race. Councillor Chambers.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to report, but I did just want to make a mention that this weekend there is the final dance recital for the Hinton School of Dance. They have shows on both Saturday and Sunday at 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock for anybody that wants to go out and support the year-end recital for the dancers.
Thank you, Councillor Chambers. Councillor Hawes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one thing to report. I had a Boardwalk Oversight Committee meeting this past week, and we finalized the Wayfinder signs. So we finalized the different loops and the names of those loops. I'm not going to divulge those names quite yet. I'll let administration and communication to deal with that. Yeah, so we'll have different loops, the Wayfinder signs will have different colors of those loops, and then significant names for each one of them. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Councillor Magoon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing to report.
Thank you, Councillor Magoon. Councillor Stashik.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a Hinton Youth Advisory Council meeting last week. Just a couple of items of note for council. There was a bit of a debrief about the community fire smarting activity that happened a couple of weeks ago and the involvement of the youth council. They were all pretty excited about the fact that they got to participate in that and help out with that. And it was a nice little debrief about the activities of the day. And the other thing that happened at the meeting of interest to council was there was a presentation from the 4-H director from the River Valley Agricultural Society, presenting to the youth council about the new 4-H group or club that will be starting this fall. So that's also of interest to anyone who's associated with young people in our community. There will be a brand new 4-H club starting this fall. So keep your eyes open for that. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ostashik. And I know the Agricultural Society was very excited to get a 4-H club going. And it's fantastic news that that's happening this fall. Congratulations to them. And I'm sure we're going to see and hear a lot more about it. For myself, for reporting, for all of council, just today, I was given an invitation to a new business opening in town. There's a restaurant called The Blend in our Green Square. They've done a soft opening, but they've invited us all to a grand opening ribbon cutting on May 31st at 2 p.m. if anyone's available. And there's going to be events all throughout the evening. So if councilors are available, please come by. And they've extended the invitation to all of administration and anyone in the town, ultimately. This past week, I did manage to attend the Center for Hospitality Studies and Research open house on their student recruiting. They are now intaking students for their fall diploma program, and anybody who is graduating today or would like to take a look at some post-secondary education in the town of Hinton, I'm told that there are numerous scholarships and available, and students should contact the CHSR. Last week, I was also able to attend the Chamber of Commerce Beer and Blue Jeans event at our visitor center and meet the new summer employees of the visitor center. I drilled them thoroughly on what's available in Hinton, and I can tell you that they, I think, are prepared for this summer. I was also able to attend a happy hour at the Pine Valley Lodge, and the Pine Valley Lodge does the seniors happy hour every Wednesday. And last week they had a Newfoundland music themed happy hour, and it was a ton of fun. The Attraction Retention Committee of Hinton has been meeting regularly. We had a meeting last week, and there's another this week to continue working towards the attraction and retention of healthcare professionals. And as I mentioned earlier, over the long weekend after having announced the Beaver Boardwalk Rehabilitation Grant. CBC did contact me for an interview, and I did an interview about our Beaver Boardwalk. And that will conclude the mayor's reporting for today. Chief Administrative Officer reporting, Mr. McLaughlin.
Nothing to report.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. I'll take us to section 11 of the evening, and we have no closed session tonight, so section 12 is adjournment. Ooh, Councillor Taylor's got something for reporting, perhaps? Okay, reporting still.
Could you comment on Mr. McDonald's information that he presented about the recreation guide, if possible? He suggested that we were a bit delayed in getting a recreation guide out. The activity has already started.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes, Deborah Duke will answer your question.
Ms. Duke?
I will hope to answer your question, but I won't because I'll have to get back to you on that one. I'm not aware that there is a delay. It's a scheduled item. Usually staff are Johnny on the spot with it, but I'll check into that and I should be able to update you tomorrow morning.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Duke. Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Anything further for reporting from council? Well, then we'll move to section 12, adjournment. Councillor Ostashik.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that council adjourn.
Thank you, Councillor Ostashik. Council, the motion on the floor is that council adjourn. And as soon as it comes up, we'll vote. Excellent. Councillors, please vote now. And that motion is carried unanimously. Council is adjourned at 5:29 p.m. Thank you, everybody.